Arts Integration by Kyla Fury. I believe that it is super important to integrate art into our core subjects for many reasons, but those reasons include it gives them access to assess their own learning, which means that it's not just the teacher that gets to assess them, but they themselves get to figure out what they did right and what they did wrong and what they need help with. It also creates a greater intrinsic motivation. It encourages their learning for understanding and not just learning because they have to. And it turned what the students perceived to be barriers into opportunities for them to learn. It also is a great motivator for students to continue learning. I was brought up in a school in Canada, and I was given a great opportunity that we did have art that was integrated into all of our core subjects. And I believe that that has fully shaped me into the person I am today. Wiley H. Bates Middle School in Annapolis has, in 2009, they got a grant and they switched into integrating more art into their curriculum. And since the arts integration was first implemented, the amount of students achieving or surpassing their standards has increased from 2009 to 2012. In reading, it was 73% in 2009 and 81% in 2012. In math, 62% achieved or surpassed in 2009 and 77% in 2012 did. Disciplinary problems also decreased by 23% from 2009 to 2011. There are many ideas for integration in all different of the core subjects, including reading, writing, math, social studies, and science. Some ideas for math would be that you could sing some songs about different formulas to help them remember them, or you can create a poster about a certain lesson. Like say you were with the fourth graders, you're wanting them to use they can use their name and their favorite numbers and create a poster based on different numbers in their lives. They have 3 siblings, they have 2 dogs. In science, you can also draw posters. You can also find and show videos, and you can also actually have the students create their own video. This would work really well with conservation. So water conservation, I believe that would work really well with. In social studies, another thing, drawing posters is actually huge throughout all of the core subjects. But with social studies, what you can also do is you can teach them dances about the different eras in the United States history. So during the 20s, they did the Charleston. You can try and teach them that. You can also listen and sing popular songs throughout the eras from United States history. Reading and writing is one where you can probably do the most integration of art. And that includes things like you can sing with them, you can write and read the poetry, act out plays, do readers' theater. And in my unit idea for 4th grade, I go into more depth with this one and with social studies. So my 4th grade unit idea was for adventure stories. When I was observing a classroom last year, I actually got to observe an adventure stories unit. And I believed that could not only just be one lesson, but that I could use adventure stories and create a full unit on it. And including working with social studies and with the writing and with the acting and talking. Being from a musical and theater background like I am, I think that this would be a great way to integrate that into my classroom. So my lesson plan number 1 was with social studies. It was for them to draw and color in a poster in regards to a specific city in Arizona. I was going to have them do research on a city that I have chosen for them. They then have to find interesting facts and create a poster to show those interesting facts, draw a place on there that they would love to go and see, and also with a map. They have to label where the city is in Arizona. That city would then be the setting for their adventure story that they will then have to write. My lesson plan number 2 was for reading and writing, and it was a reader's theater of an adventure story. So I was having my students then learn about the elements of a adventure story. So how adventure stories have to have certain elements. We then would read together in a reader's theater an adventure story that would allow them to pick out the certain elements of an adventure story. My third lesson plan actually comes way far down the line in this. I would have them write an adventure story and read it out loud and do many things with that. I would also have them create a movie poster for this. But my last lesson plan for this unit was to have them act in a play using the adventure stories that they wrote. So they would write an adventure story and get into a group of kids that I chose for them. That group of kids then would choose their own, they would then choose which story out of them that they want to act out. They would practice, rehearse it, and if they wanted to use costumes, they could. That then would get them to not only have a greater understanding of the elements of a short story, but it would allow them to then act that out. And I believe that that is a great way for them to stay motivated and to want to do better. And these are just my references. Again, I am a huge advocate for arts integration, and I believe that it can work in not just my classroom, but in every classroom.